Jimmie Johnson, our 5-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, is here now. He drives the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tool Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. He comes into the chase seated second. He's got 3 wins on the year. And Jimmie, talk about starting off the chase here at Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah, just like probably like everybody, all the chasers that have come through, in saying that I'm excited to be here. Very proud of my team and what we've done to get to this point. And now it's time to put up our best 10 races, and I feel confident about things. I feel good about our team and where we're at, and it's really time just to get to work now.
Questions for Jimmie? We'll take a few. We'll start right here with Dean. Raise your hand. We'll get you the wireless mic.
Dean McNulty, Toronto Sun. Jimmie, in 2010, going down the stretch, Texas, Phoenix, Miami, you had a change of crew. This year, with all 4 teams in the chase, that's not likely to happen again. Can you talk a little bit about having the 4 teams and what it means in terms of strategy going ahead?
Yeah, I mean, that was a unique situation in Texas when we changed crews, and with the wreck that the 24 had, it had them out of position to win the championship, and we needed to spark things off over the wall, and Chad made probably one of the gutsiest calls ever, from a pit crew standpoint during a race. And we've made a lot of changes since then, and feel like we have backups in Lowe's attire, and we wouldn't need to take such dramatic steps and go get another teammate's crew. But we're a big family at Hendrick Motorsports, and I think that year showed how united we all are and how dedicated we are to getting a Hendrick car to victory lane. And we all stood there not victory lane, but to win the championship. And when I accepted the championship trophy and went through the whole night, we had all those crew members there. They were all a part of what took place in 2010. So we really don't want to be in that position again. Feel that we won't. We made some decisions to keep us from being in that situation, and we'll do what we can to help our teammates. But when we get in the race, it's all about what each individual team can do to win win a race and get max points for themselves.
Let's go to Marty and then to Shannon.
Marty Smith, ESPN. A lot of guys asked about the odds of the championship, noted that you guys were the favorites far and away, and for several different reasons. What odds would you give yourself to have the opportunity to win a 6th championship?
I don't know much about the odds. I look at that sheet. They were talking about it the other day.
You're 9-5 in Vegas.
I still don't know what that means.
It's pretty damn good.
I see it's at the top of the list, and I was asking Hamlin because he's Hamlin and Biffle, because they both understand all that stuff, and neither one of them could give me a clear answer as to what it really meant. But I see him at the top, and it's great to be there. I think that it's a tip of the cap from whoever, from the masses or whatever it is, sportsbook. But I feel that my chances are good, but I think this year it's just very difficult to say who's going to be hot. We've seen Hamlin hot over the last couple of weeks. We look at the stretch from Indy, and the races that follow. There were a lot of people ready to hand me the trophy then. Now it switched to Denny. Prior to me, it was someone else. So, I mean, our chances are good. Our odds are good. But, just like in football or any other sport, you got to go out there and play the game or run the race, and that's where we're at. But I do feel good about things. I feel that we're competitive, and we've shown that late in the regular season, and that's important moving forward.
Shannon.
Shannon Spake, ESPN. Okay, so you mentioned being competitive, but if you look internally, what does your team have? Why do you believe that you guys can win this year's championship?
Well, I think we have speed in key areas, clearly on the racetrack. Our over-the-wall group is doing an amazing job. And, the strategy in race calling has changed and evolved a bit over the years. And I feel that we're on top of that and making the right decisions week in and week out. So, those 3 pieces are key. And then the final one I want to add in is really experience. Experience Chad and I have together during these chases, and really a lot of core crew members of our team. It doesn't mean that we're going to win the championship, but I just experience has meant so much to me in my career, and I've learned from my mistakes. And I always put previous champions top of the list as a favorite to start off. And with the 5 that we have and the core group that's been a part of all of that, that's helpful.
Next question. Who has one? Over here far right, and then to Nate.
Hello, Graham McKenzie, Travel Mole, United Kingdom. Jimmie, do you think there will ever be a day when there will be an electric NASCAR series, and if so, are you young enough to drive in it?
I don't believe my age will really work out for that. But I don't think that it's out of the question. You know, our sport was founded on being a test bed for the manufacturers. And if consumer sales are heading that way and it's important to manufacturers, I think there's a chance. It's hard to imagine right now, but you know, what's the world look like in 20 years? Where's racing in 20 years? How are we relevant to the manufacturers and to the consumer in 20 years? So those questions are out there, and you know, racing's expensive. We can't do it on our own. We need to make sure that it falls in line with what the manufacturers need.
Nate?
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Jimmie, Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon have both talked about how information sharing could get more challenged, so to speak, with all 400 cars in the chase. How do you see that? And Jeff said that there's like a database where you guys share everything, but the debriefs, I assume, like Dale said, could get a lot shorter. You guys could be maybe less forthcoming in helping each other with setup information. I'm just wondering, is there going to be inherent tension there from having everybody compete, especially if you guys are all in the title race, say still 5 races from now?
Man, I don't really see it. You know, in our debriefs, we go through and the crew chiefs talk about, you know, what the day was like and what we went through, and that's all in the database anyway, so they just kind of highlight some areas. And then drivers kind of add to and maybe ask a question or two back and forth about something. So I don't see it changing a lot. Maybe those guys feel differently. Maybe I just instinctively did something different over the 5 years of racing with my teammates for championships, but I don't see it being a lot different. And so much of that is due to the fact that the database is there with everything I push the button on, in the car and say gets entered in. Every adjustment we make is entered in, and that's always been there. You know, and it's about the crew chiefs and the engineers to dig through that and to find what works, what might work for their race car. So I don't see it being a lot different.
Was it different at all in '07 when you and Jeff were slugging it out race to race all the way through?
It was different. I mean, you feel the tension at times, you know, and rightfully so, because we're in the same shop at this point, and the 24 and everybody involved on that team wants the championship and is well deserving of that, and we do too. So, you know, you can feel it. I guess I felt it more just from being around people, physically being around them, than I did as far as communication changing. So it's not comfortable in some of those meetings late in the year, you know, when you're racing your teammate. But at the same time, I've been racing non-teammates and wondering, what are they thinking about right now? And it is kind of, it's good and bad, but at points there is an advantage racing your teammate because you know what his setup is, you know what he's thinking, you know if he's confident. It would help me sleep better at night, or know if we needed to work harder. As to where when I was racing other guys, there's always that question mark, you know, are they any good? What's going on? So there's good and bad to both.
Let's go over here to David.
Yeah, Jimmie, David Newton, ESPN.com.
To your left.
Carl Edwards was just talking about how it feels weird coming to the track, not feeling the pressure to compete for the chase and the championship. When does that pressure for you, and you think most drivers, actually set in? Is it this week, or is it 6 weeks down the road if you're still in contention, or when?
I think it really steps up today, and then as the weeks go by, you know, where you're at and things kind of cues that up a little bit more. It just depends. You know, some guys manage it differently and better than others. But for me, I certainly notice a difference here. And then if I'm in the, you know, in a good spot and contending, it continues to ramp up. And even last year, I felt a different kind of pressure as we started to slip away, and that door starts closing on you for the championship. There's a different kind of pressure that shows up then. But I have to imagine every guy woke up this morning and felt a little different when they realized it was Chicago.
Any other questions for Jimmie? Take one more back in the back.
Dennis Krause, Motorsports Minute. Jimmie, do you still maintain your personal notebook for each track, and how has that helped?
Yeah, definitely. I go through my notes. Some weeks I'm more detailed than others and that kind of thing, but definitely still have my personal notebook and pull through that stuff. The team does an amazing job of collecting conversations and data from, you know, race weekends, and I pour through that information as well. you know what's going on. At least last time we were here, you know, and then you got to bring in the elements that change from a different tire and rule changes and stuff. But definitely spent a lot of time studying things.
Jimmie, thanks for coming in, and we certainly wish you luck at Chicagoland.